In the midst of isolation, social distancing, and limited resources, how do you stay inspired to contribute to something bigger than yourself? Are you an ambitious vet looking to figure out how to use this time wisely to come out more valuable, impactful, and maybe just a little bit more fulfilled? Well, this conversation is going to be vital for your ongoing mission success.
In a hot old garage and then filling all of these bins like full of flip-flops and then pushing it out the door and just looking back at it and going, that's 5 years of school for little girls in Afghanistan.
Holy cow. Today's show is brought to you by Brute Force Sandbags. Now, are you an ambitious vet that's in the trenches day in and day out, getting sick and tired of the same old fitness apps? Trust me, I got you. Are you finally ready to start training like you did while you were in the uniform, outside of it, tactically, and working every muscle group inside your body? Well, look no further. These sandbags are found anywhere from garage gyms to CrossFit boxes to the U.S. Navy, and will humble even the most ambitious vet out there that thinks they're mentally tough. I promise you. So, best thing about these things, these are 100% American made, ambitious vet. They're built from the toughest training material on the planet that we all know, and it's free shipping. They got a great warranty on them, and if you don't like it after you buy it, hey, they get it. It's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're ready to train accordingly, check out Brute Force Sandbags by clicking the show notes below. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet Podcast, where we believe that if you desire more than you have in any area of life, you have to become more in the process. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine Corps combat veteran turned social entrepreneur, family man, and personal and professional development leader. On this show, I dive into the trenches with big thinking and conscious veterans who know what it takes to not only pay the bills after the military, but really live with a sense of purpose, satisfaction, and career fulfillment we all desire most after financial stability is no longer a challenge to overcome. Grab your pen and paper. It's time to gain the golden grenades needed to break through your fear barriers and live a life of purpose with passion.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, ambitious vets? We're right back into the trenches again. We're excited to bring you yet another thought leader inside the veteran community, Matthew Griffin. Matthew is an Army Special Forces veteran, CEO of Combat Flip Flops, a $1 million retailer of shoes and accessories. He's also known for his TEDx talk and a successful appearance on ABC's Shark Tank, where he not only secured one shark, but three, including Mark Cuban. I'm excited to dive into his mindset during these times of chaos and figure out how we can consistently grow into the trenches and make the impact we're all committed to making in our career, lives, and businesses. Matt, are you there, brother?
I'm here, man. Great to be here today.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. Can you go ahead and fill the gaps inside of that introduction? Let us know something personal that very few people know about you.
Well, I'm gonna make a couple quick clarifications there for the military guys that get into this. But I was Special Operations Ranger, so I was in the 75th Ranger Regiment, not Special Forces. And when I did Shark Tank, I did it with my Ranger buddy Donald Lee, so it wasn't just me on there; it was another guy who was with me.
Nice, awesome.
But just in between that, I'm from Iowa. Just like most guys, wouldn't say the best childhood, not the worst childhood, and joined the Army to get away from it all. And left Iowa when I was 18 and never looked back. Did 3 to Afghanistan, 1 to Iraq, and been through multiple jobs since leaving the military. And I really just found my niche and hitting the groove.
Nice. Yeah. Being another, Midwestern boy from St. Louis, Missouri, man, I can appreciate the genuineness of just ain't nothing special, man. I'm just out there making things happen, and you've been making things happen in a big way. So, Matthew, man, you said that you've been on 4 deployments, right? You've been in Afghanistan, you've been in Iraq and stuff like that, doing God knows what inside those conflict areas. And now, man, you've brought a mission into a conflict area where you used to bring bullets, but now you're bringing business and you're building, an economy in some of these third world countries. Can you walk us through that mindset shift that had you go from going in there as a potential perceived enemy to now building an economy inside those conflict areas, brother?
Yeah, it's a team effort. Like a lot of the guys on our team here who have served feel, the same way. We went over there, we lost a whole bunch of friends, we came back, and really what was the reason why? What's the positive legacy that we're leaving behind? When we walk away from that country, did we as service members keep the promises of our country to the people that we met with on the street and made friends with and made deals with? And are we keeping our promises? I know a lot of people, they feel like when they got back from service, they don't really feel that way, right? Which kind of taints them on their deployment experience. And then, fortunately or unfortunately for me, like I had a job where I was traveling all over the world, in and out of conflict zones, putting in clinics and getting medical supplies in and out. And I saw a much different side of these areas when you're not walking around in body armor, toting a rifle, rolling out of an armored vehicle into somebody's house in the middle of the night. Like, it's a much different experience when you go there. And in all these places that I went, I found out that they're people just like us. Like their families, husbands, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, all they want to do is they want to get up, they want to do the best they can for their family, and they want to go home. And that's not an experience that the United States military typically gives you when you're downrange. And I just saw a much different side of the country that I was just never exposed to as a young adult.
Right.
And when you're there and you see that side of it, you're like, that only makes you question your experience there more. And the message that I kept seeing, and the thing that kept getting shoved in my face wherever I went, is the only thing that provides security is business. That's it. And if we're going to do this as a country, if we're going to do this to keep our kids from having to go and fight in the same wars that we did, then we should start some business. And it just kept hitting me all over. Like everywhere I went, it was the same thing. And one day I landed in a combat boot factory in Kabul, Afghanistan. I saw a flip-flop sole punch through a combat boot, a flip-flop thong punch through a combat boot sole. Like, the idea came together. The URL was available. My buddy was down to help, and we started. And that was it. And it's just like, when it hits you, it hits you. When I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to start a business. I always wanted to do all these other things, but I was working for somebody else, gaining all those skills. And when it finally hit, I was like, okay, now this is time to do this. Let's go. And that was it. And like our whole mindset is, we're going to go back as service members now. We're going to change their perception of Americans. We're not going to solve the war with flip-flops, but we're going to be one of the first companies who, tip this wave in the right direction and show people that it's actually possible. Because people won't do it unless they can see that it's successfully being done. And if we prove it, then other people will follow. And we're seeing that. We saw Rumi Spice making Afghan saffron, flying scarves, making other scarves. And you see a whole bunch of veterans now going back and starting these businesses. And it's more than just us now.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. You broke the 4-minute mile. Now people are figuring out how to run it faster. And, you've done a really good job. I mean, I was reading on notes and stuff like that. Haven't you, right after the Shark Tank episode, didn't you fund over 200 years of school for Afghan girls, man, after that show?
And people talk about Shark Tank. It's just a weird experience. So we're this super small, nobody company. We get a cool article published about us. A producer reads it, invites us to be on the show. We go on the show, and we're still struggling. We have no business experience. We've never made footwear, and now we're on the biggest thing in America, getting ready to hit the biggest retail wave any company can ever ask for, right, on a Friday night. And we were just blessed. All of our friends and our family were there. My business partner, my brother, Andy, Lee, our families were there, and big conference room table at my buddy's office. He loaned us for the evening, and the show went off. Our website went crazy. We were selling all kinds of stuff. Everybody was cracking bottles of champagne, and we did more business in 36 hours than we did in our entire company history.
Holy
and
cow.
It was really cool because that many people bought, but what it was we were still fulfilling out of my garage behind my house, 30 feet behind my kitchen. And a freight truck would pull up in the morning and dump off pallets of flip-flops. We would inventory them in, get them all into the shelves in the garage. we'd have that done by 9 or 10, and then we do all our pick tickets. And then by the end of the day, we had 4 or 5 people in there just sweating in a hot old garage, and then filling all of these bins like full of flip-flops, and then pushing it out the door and just looking back at it and going, that's 5 years of school for little girls in Afghanistan.
Holy cow.
Right. And at the end of the day, everybody just looking at that pile, standing there sweaty and hot, and like, just like that feeling of pride that comes with it was really cool. Like it's good.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of like, that's why you guys started the company, right? It was a mission to serve a greater purpose. And at that time, it was it was realized, right? It was like, wow, this is becoming real. And having 3 sharks that are now going to hold you accountable to scale this thing to the level that, it's gone to, man. It's just been really impressive. So like, for any ambitious vet that's out there that's looking to like, has had that aha moment, maybe they're trying to advance in their corporate job, or maybe it's just, they're in a startup phase where they're just like, yeah, man, I would love to go pitch in Shark Tank or take that risk. What would be something that you could tell them as far as a next step on how to create those opportunities, but ultimately execute on them?
If you can plan it, you can do it. It's just the thing. A lot of guys, they're talktrepreneurs or they're wantrepreneurs. Like, they want to be corporate exec badasses, and they talk this big game. But until you actually put it down on paper and make a plan that not only you, but other people can follow and be accountable to be successful, it's not going to happen. Sit down, write it out, shoot holes in your plan, replan it. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You turn your TV off in the evening and you sit down with a journal and you write out what success looks like. And then you backwards plan off of that. It's just time.
Yeah.
Write it out, plan it out, shoot holes in it. Like, this is what we did in the military. Hey, we're going to go like kidnap this guy in the middle of the night, right? That sounds cool. It's really dangerous. We're going to slide out of a helicopter. How are we going to do that? And then you're like, all right, this is what success looks like, is everybody on the X with bad guy in tow with a bag over his head, getting into the back of a helicopter, and everybody comes home safely. That's really dangerous work. Like, nothing you do in civilian life is going to be that dangerous, yet you planned that mission while you were away from your family, crappy sleep, crappy food, foreign environment, foreign language, and you were successful. Like, you can do it here. Just sit down and plan it out. Like, it sounds dumb, but like, whenever we run marketing campaigns or whatever, I literally grab the Army 5-paragraph op order, the template, and I copy paste it into our company document. And I do the same thing I did as a platoon leader for the stuff that I do in my company. And we pull off rad stuff. Like, you can do it.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of what we were talking about off air. The templates are there. Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just got to plug your idea inside the framework or the roadmap that's already out there. And I find that when, just through my conversations with ambitious vets, as soon as they find that roadmap, to your point, how to identify resources that they've used in the past to, execute on ideas, whatever their ambitions are, sometimes that's the thing, is finding the familiarity of what's happened in the past. And once they correlate that in the mindset, man, they're off to the races. So I really like how you articulated that, man. So it sounds like you have done a great job as far as just correlating everything that you guys have gone step by step with combat flip-flops and plugging it into, okay, what was the Army resources? What were the templates? What were the leadership traits? What was all this kind of stuff that had us grow successful? Would you agree?
I agree. I mean, there's some things about the military that are great that lead to being successful. There are other things that are not, right? Like, as far as like planning and execution and expectation setting and being able to do something safely, like, the military is great when it comes down to, leadership. I don't think the military holds the keys on leadership. I don't think they're the ones who are the end all be all. Just because you were a good sergeant or a good captain or a good colonel does not mean you're going to be a good business leader.
Yeah. I've definitely seen that, because one of my biggest landmines, we talk about landmines a lot. It's pretty much the things that are stopping us to finding fulfilling success that we're looking for, right? And one of my personal landmines when I was getting out of the Marine Corps back in 2012 was communication, man. I had a lot of pride, and I came off like a commander. I was that corporal, right, in the Marine Corps that was always telling troops what to do, knife hand and everywhere, you know. And I just could not find a way to empathize with people, man. The emotional intelligence was just not there, and things were not moving because of it, because I was socially awkward. I was bulldozing people in corporations, startup businesses, and stuff like that. How, one thing that we brought up inside the pre-interview, Matt, was your ability to be vulnerable and be transparent now after 4 combat tours. How could you break it down for an ambitious vet, man, to actually start feeling and communicating from that way that actually persuades and influences people?
I take it back to just tools in a toolbox, right? Empathy and emotional intelligence is a tool in a toolbox. When I joined the military, I did not know how to fire artillery systems.
Yeah.
Right. But artillery systems win the battle. Like by the time that I walked out of the military, I could shoot around a 55-pound round out of a 155 millimeter cannon, 18 kilometers through the air, through 7 layers of atmosphere, and have it impact and like do its job.
Right.
That was a tool that I spent months learning how to employ effectively for something that I might use maybe 30 to 45 minutes in total in my total Army career. Wow. Because when I needed it, that would have mattered.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So when you get out in the civilian world, you have new tools that you need to pick up that are going to be just as important, that you're going to need for 30 to 45 seconds, maybe once a week, that are going to win the battle for you.
Yeah.
But if you're too prideful and you don't think they're worth it, then you're going to keep losing battles. And maybe you might listen to this podcast once or twice or 3 times before it sets in. But I'm telling you, like all the business leaders that are out there today, all the business leaders that have been since the beginning of time, they know that these soft skills are critically important and you need to learn them, and learn them as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for that. So Ambitious Vet, we're going to take a brief break to thank our sponsors. We'll be right back in the trenches with Matthew Griffin right after this message. When you have more time on your hands, like right now, don't waste it. Do yourself a favor and fill your mind with knowledge, wisdom, or maybe you just want to find a good old outlet like some A-list comedy. Audible has thousands of titles from podcasts, guided wellness programs, theatrical performances, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. Now, what I love about Audible the most is you can fill your mind with information while doing other stuff, like hiking, commuting, and maybe just sipping some good old whiskey out back while you watch a sunset. Now, I request you take Audible for a test drive. Check them out with a 30-day free trial on us here at The Ambitious Vet while simply going to www.audibletrial.com/AMV. All right, Ambitious Vet, we're inside the trenches with Matthew Griffin, the one and only co-founder of Combat Flip Flops, and a $1 million retailer of shoes and accessories. We're diving into the trenches. He just talked about how to inspire a more emotional intelligence, how to bring tool sets to certain things and compartmentalize your emotions, which is amazing. But now we're about to shift some gears. Now we're going to dive into why is it important during these times of COVID-19 and quarantine? Why is it so important to work on yourself during these times more than ever? And what are some tactics that the CEO of Combat Flip Flops is doing right now? So Matt, man, what are you doing right now to improve yourself as a leader, a co-founder of an organization, a friend, a man, stuff like that? How are you improving yourself right now?
So I'll start with most important, being a dad, right? It's a chaotic time for kids, right? Their entire life has been upended and they're learning a whole new rhythm. You're learning a whole new rhythm with them. And so how do we establish healthy relationships with our children? What do I need to do every day? And that's, hey, find 20 to 30 minutes to go out on a dog walk and just check in and see on what's going on, get away from everything, get outside. You just have that. And then just relationally, like making sure that you're not letting your stress pour out into your other relationships. Like you might be freaked out about this, right? And things might be falling apart all over, but just remember, everybody is in this together. Everybody is going through this. Like, you're not the only one stressed out. You know, you can kind of chill a little bit. Like, we are literally all in this together.
Yeah.
And then, you know, professionally, I love the Bruce Lee line, within chaos lies opportunity.
It's good,
like,
man.
In like the Chinese symbol for chaos is one is danger and then the other is opportunity. And like, we've been through some dangerous stuff in our lives, like arguably more dangerous than COVID-19. Like, if you're an ambitious vet and you deployed downrange, and whether you did training or you did conflict, like, all that stuff is inherently more dangerous than what we're facing in our communities right now. And somehow you still grew and thrived, right? You had a good sense of humor about it the entire way.
Yeah.
And so that's just really what we're focusing on right now is, you know, we've pivoted our systems. Everybody's kind of changed up their lifestyle. They're getting their lives straight. And like, what are the things that, I really had to take a look at me personally. Like, I do a lot of public speaking. I get hired by a lot of major corporations to go out and, you know, work with people to tell them, hey man, here's how you kick ass in a dangerous environment. Here's how you mitigate risk. Here's how you know, put dream teams together. Like, I used to do that. That was my primary source of income as a small business owner, and it's gone. Like, all of that went away in the drop of a hat, literally at the end of February. Wow. Right. So my calendar, like, I was on the road. I flew 50,000 miles January and February. Crazy amount of like flying and traveling from home. And now I'm home. Like, I've never lived in a solitary spot and not traveled this much in my entire adult life. I've never done it. And so, like, sitting back, okay, you're in all of the things that you thought you were going to do in your life were based on conditions that previously existed. And all of those conditions are now gone.
Right.
Everything or plan that you had for your life, all the paradigms that you based the ability to accomplish those goals are now really murky. Period. Yeah. So it's been a time for me to just sit down and like, hey, what are the things that I want to accomplish in life? What are the things that have brought me enjoyment over the last 40 years? Have they brought me joy? Have they brought prosperity? Have they brought like togetherness? Have they deepened my relationship with God? Right. And like, just writing them all down and then go, okay, now what do I want to do moving forward? And for me, that's just being more creative. Like, I just want to be more creative. And for our company, we want to get better cinematography and imagery. So there's a whole bunch of rules and regulations around drone flying for commercial operations. And so I went and got my FAA certification. I went through a training course. I took a master class. I took my test. I wrote all my policies. And so, you know, within a month of this change, now we literally upped the value of our marketing department for less than like $200 in 8 or 10 hours.
Wow.
Right. So it's those things. And I got to tell you, my garden is banging. Like, it's awesome. Like, my house is like a freaking floral wonderland. Like, my roses like are popping hot. Like, everything is just going off. Like, it's great. Like, those are things I just enjoy. My dog is old. He's around here somewhere. You know, and I travel a lot, so I felt really bad about traveling. So I just hang out with my dog more.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Those are the things you can do. Just find in Zombieland, find enjoyment in the little things.
Yeah, the small things. Yeah, I mean, You said your garden's thriving. We just moved to our new home in Dallas, Texas, and we got half grass in our backyard and half like dirt and sand. So it's been a great time to plant some ryegrass seed and grow some seed out there, man. But I definitely can connect with the whole, you know, this is the time to, you know, find ways to slow down, get more creative and stuff like that, man. And sounds like you're doing a good job just, you know, not only life work balance during these times, and I bet your, you know, kids are super excited to have daddy around a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And you know, just being able to fill those human capital gaps too, man, as you look at the next level, slow down and figure out, okay, what are some credentials I need? What are some training? What's some experience? Who is the person that I need to hire? What is it I need to take the brand to the next level? Stuff like that. And I think these are a great time, to your point, to just kind of slow down and just think strategically on like, hey, what's missing? And having us, you know, bridge that desire gap and getting to the next level. And that's some great wisdom. So Matt, man,
I'll give one more comment on that.
Yeah, man.
Excuse me. for the military guys that are still into the military lingo, it's
Yeah.
exercising some tactical patience,
Mm.
right? When the bullets start flying, everybody wants to react and overreact versus, all right, stop, find out where things are at, where's your positions at, where's your cover, where's your concealment, make a quick plan, disseminate the plan, get it going, right? It's a lot of tactical patience right now. For guys like us, like we want to be moving,
Right.
but right now is the time where you understand like being a little bit more still right now will pay benefits in the long term.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for breaking that down, Barney style. Us specifically Marines love that kind of language. So thank you for that. So what's next for combat flip flops, Matt?
We did a major rebrand in November. So we launched all new products, new website, new imagery, new messaging, a new logo, everything. And it's really come together over the last 2 months. We've just really been doing well. Like people don't need shoes in quarantine. So actually we're not doing so bad as a company. And our manufacturing got throttled a little bit. They got quarantined. So we just haven't been able to bring in as much product as possible. So it's tough on one hand knowing that we could be doing better, but on the other hand, we're doing better than ever. And it's good.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep ramping on that. And we're just going to really up our brand messaging of more inspirational stuff and getting people out there and out in nature, having fun, pushing themselves and expanding their comfort zones.
Yeah, that's great because you guys have a just cause, right? I'm reading this book called Infinity Game with Simon Sinek. He's all about talking about the just cause, right? The thing that inspires action. So what would be like that just cause that combat flip flops is attacking, surging after right now?
It's two. It's like, I think everybody's feeling it right now. They can have a little bit of empathy with what happens when something major goes on in your country and you lose your job.
Mm. Yeah.
Right. Maybe now we can establish some empathy for all of those people who lived in Iraq and Afghanistan and all the other countries we invaded.
Yeah.
Like maybe we can do that. Right. And so for us, getting people back to work the same way Americans want to get back to work is our just cause. Right. But we want to do that in war zones so that way our kids don't have to go fight there. And the second one is women's education. Like women are the key. They're not the ones who are going to go immediately going to fisticuffs over a disagreement. They're going to talk it out and maybe come to an agreeable compromise solution. And they're generally, all the data says it, they're better with their money. They're better as business leaders. They're better. So we are really driven toward empowering women in local communities to do well. And so when we're struggling to get out of bed in the morning and like, oh, this is going to be hard, like the image of a little girl sitting in a classroom pokes up in the head and says, hey, like, dude, get up, get off your ass.
Yeah.
Like somebody's depending on you right now for you to do well. So the other just causes put little kids in school, man. That's it. Those are the two: creating jobs and putting girls in school.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just off the cuff, how many women in Afghanistan alone? Because your guys are in Laos and Colombia too, as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. So we started making flip flops in Afghanistan. There are some logistical boundaries to making flip flops in Afghanistan, and I'll just make it real simple. But if you make flip flops in Afghanistan, by the time they hit the U.S., they're going to be $130.
Wow.
It's just the math behind it. So nobody's going to buy a $130 flip flop. So we looked at our mission statement. Didn't say anything about Afghanistan. It says help entrepreneurs affected by conflict, manufacture peace through trade. Right. So we moved our stuff to Colombia, war on drugs, narco finance, terrorism, same thing. So our footwear production's there. Now we make textiles in Afghanistan, and we partnered with another company to make jewelry in Laos out of recycled landmines from the Vietnam War.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's like the three countries we work in. So it's fun, dude. It's great. Like everybody's cool. Everybody works hard. We make fun stuff.
Yeah, man. It's just, just coming from, just me having the honor to, have this interview and run this podcast. I mean, it's just moving, man, to have, a guy like yourself that has been in those combat environments 4 times, and just to go back and get, go and give back and go back in those conflict management areas where you're unarmed. You're unarmed now, and you're fighting a new war from the heart, not from like aggression. And man, I just acknowledge you for doing that, because that's not always easy. That's just not always easy, is it?
It's not, it's we're very fortunate in our business that we have a lot of customers and supporters who are like-minded. And so all the blessings we have are because of them.
Yeah.
But, when I was a captain in the Rangers, I never met the president of Afghanistan. Right. But when I was the co-founder and CEO of Combat Flip Flops, like the founders of our company got invited by the Afghan president to go to New York City and meet with them. It's affirming you're doing the right thing. It's getting recognized. And in spite of all the government agencies that are flailing and falling down and wasting hundreds of billions of dollars, like there's a little company out there with no money, no budget, right, that's doing the right thing, that's getting the recognition. So it's and that recognition really goes to all of our customers and supporters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it just my mind goes back to just the uniform ambitious vet. It serves a purpose, right? And when you get out, there's a new purpose to find. And Matt at Combat Flip Flops has found a way to find a new purpose to serve, and he's serving at a very high level. So Matt, man, back to you. We have a tradition inside the show. 3 golden grenades, man. What would you drop in right now, wisdom bombs, to any, ambitious vet that's 3+ years out of the military, is just dealing with some lack of satisfaction, fulfillment, trying to find that sense of purpose that you have found, man? What would be 3 golden grenades you could unpackage for us right now?
Patience. It's patience, guys. I mean, it's like the average adult goes through like 5 or 6 jobs before they really find what they want to do in their life. Like, don't be discouraged. Don't. And just keep that in your mindset. And I always treated it like the military is 2 years up and over. Whatever job you get in, learn as much as you can while you're there for 2 years. Strive to be successful. Strive to make everybody else around you successful. That's how you become successful. Right. And then 2 years out, be looking to move up in responsibility and over in job responsibility. So you're building your portfolio. I mean, I work for a home building company. I work for a medical sales company. I work for a consulting company. I work for a technical cleaning and repair company. I work, I did all of these different things, but I graduated up in responsibility, and then I diversified my knowledge of how to run a business. And then when I was 34 years old, right, then I was like, okay, I'm ready to do this on my own. Right.
Yeah.
Take your time. And then I'll be really candid and say, like, I don't feel like I hit my flow like I knew what I was doing until last year, until I was 40.
Wow.
And if you read all the big business books, and the number one is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? There are so many case studies about people who were not successful until they hit 40.
Why do you think that is?
Just make all the mistakes when you're younger.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. I mean, and it's great that you have hit that stride a year ago, but just you going in and being able to go into Shark Tank and win over 3 sharks. I mean, that's a lot of ambitious vets' dreams, man. And just for you to overcome what you had to overcome to get to that level and stand there confidently and bold. I think I've watched the episode at least a few times. And ambitious vet, if you haven't seen the episode, I encourage you to go. I'll probably put the link in the show notes below for you to go and watch it. Just really impressive stuff. And I remember seeing Mark Cuban's face. I like business over bullets.
Yeah.
I was just like, it's a done deal, man.
Yeah. The second hand grenade is treat your body like you're going to live in it for the rest of your life.
Nice. Wow.
You are, right? The military gives you horrible workout habits. They give you horrible eating habits, horrible sleep habits. And you're not getting paid to work out 2 hours every day anymore. Like, you're not getting the 3 meals when somebody serves you like decently okay food that's meant for your caloric output for the day. Like, you are now responsible for your management of your health and welfare. And I always go back and I think of my first commander, Brandon Tegmeyer, who just recently left as the commander of the regiment. And he says, your ability to lead is directly related to your level of physical fitness. Right. Over time, people who maintain themselves and maintain their bodies can lead better over time. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur or a successful person, it is a marathon, not a sprint. Like, you need to keep yourself physically fit. And it doesn't mean like you can't put on a little layer of insulation. That's fine, right? But it's okay.
Get that COVID body.
Yeah, it's fine. I got my apocalypse coat on. I'm good, right? But no, you don't need to run 5 miles at a 8-minute mile pace anymore, but you need to get out and exercise. Like, you should be doing yoga. You don't need to be throwing huge weights around, because you're not going to be body slamming another human being on command. You're going to be climbing up and around and doing things. So you might not need to stack on all that muscle and put all that weight on for that, but you need to maintain your body, eat right, sleep right, so that way you can perform over time, because it is a long haul.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome, brother. Yeah. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm just like, wow. I mean, I still do I'm doing beach body, man, every single day outside, back every morning. And, man, it's just when you get your physiological system going, I think sometimes, you're thinking in a more productive mindset. Cause I don't know about you, but I think one of my biggest landmines, which a lot of ambitious vets that listen to this podcast already know, but it's like self-doubt, man. I wake up with an overwhelming sense of fear and self-doubt. And it's not until I get like a good run in or a workout that gets my body going, that gets those fear hormones out of the way, man. So what would be that last golden grenade that you could bring in here, man, to drive it home?
Self-talk.
That's perfect.
Right? Just off of what you just said.
Oh my God, that's great. So how do you leverage self-talk for?
So I mean, there's a lot of people out there. You can watch the Secret, right? The Law of Attraction, all of those other things, right? But there is some science behind it. It does back it up. Right. And again, as we were talking about emotional intelligence, this is another one of those tools, and arguably it's the most important tool for you to manifest the reality that you desire. Right. Because if in your head, the first thing you think is, I'm going to fuck that up, you have a much higher likelihood of fucking it up than if the first thought in your head was, this may be difficult and I may not get it perfect, but I know that I'm going to do it. And every time I do it, I'm going to get better.
Yeah.
You have a much higher likelihood of success. Right. So when it's just mindfulness, and meditation helps with that. But as soon as you catch that thought in your head, you go, was that a positive thought about being successful, being ambitious, like seeing the win that's leading me more toward my win? Or is that a thought that is leading me away from the goals that I have? And if it is, it's totally fine. But you stop and you go, nope, you're not welcome here anymore. I'm going to retrain myself again, just the same way. Like if you were doing a drill in the Army and a firearms drill and you were doing your trigger squeeze incorrectly, right? Somebody's going to come over to you and go, hey man, that is the worst thing you could be doing for your accuracy, is squeezing the trigger incorrectly. Let's move your finger like 1/8 of an inch out to the right, and let's get a couple hundred reps in. So that way you got it down. And it's just one of those things. It just takes repetition to talk to yourself positively. So like, nope, I screwed that up before. I learned my lesson. I'm not going to screw it up again. Next time I will be better, faster, and it'll be worth more. Right.
Yeah, that's great, man. I think a lot of veterans deal with that, deal with the opposite of like negative thinking. They don't have their fire teams around them anymore to like keep them moving forward. So I think that's a good reminder of just how to start having more self-control, how to slow down your thoughts and find ways to be more mindful in your everyday life. And I think that would really make a difference. So,
well, I mean, so if you go to like the basis of it, I think where a lot of us veterans get it, is our entire job is predicated on fear. Right? Our entire job is to close with and destroy the enemy, which is a fear-based action. I don't care who you are. Everybody has a level of fear when it comes to it.
Oh yeah.
And then all of your subtasks in that are to prevent the loss of a friend or yourself, right? So you're identifying risks with the worst possible outcome every step of the way. So you're constantly seeing bad stuff that could happen, right? And you're constantly moving pieces around to mitigate all the negative things with huge ramifications.
I never thought about it like that. That's so true, brother.
Yeah, and like,
oh my gosh, yeah,
it occupies up so much of your operational space, right? And the guys are the most successful in the military are the ones that identify all of those bad things before everybody else does, and they make actions to mitigate those risks.
Yeah.
Now, when you get out of the military, that skill set is highly valuable, right? Being able to walk into an operation and go, hey, like, that's a risk. That's going to prevent the operation from being successful. But the negative ramification of it isn't your buddy's going to die and you're going to be holding a tourniquet while he bleeds out. The ramification is, hey, like, we have a wrong decimal on a spreadsheet somewhere.
Being able to spot that.
Right. And so
Right.
tuning your level down on that and providing more room for positive, re-encouraging, mind space of like, hey, we're going to be successful. This is the picture of success. Beating that into your team, beating that into everybody who's around you, like seeing it, feeling it, writing it down, communicating it all the time, right, is going to lead you to that. But you're still going to need that risk identifier, but the outcomes are nowhere near as bad as they used to be. So it's okay to let that go, like throttle back like 90%.
Yeah.
Right. And allow that other room to be more positive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, man. That's a great analogy. And I think, ambitious, if you're listening to this, I have probably like a page of notes here, that new way of looking at risk mitigation and how to transfer that skill set into our everyday life. I know I'm going to take that one on. So, Matt, man, where can people go to find out more about combat flip-flops? What's next for you and your journey and all that good stuff? Where can people go and find you, man?
So if you want to find us, everything's Combat Flip-Flops, right? So website's combatflipflops.com. All of our social, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, Snap It, everything is at Combat Flip-Flops. What's next for us? We're just planning a whole bunch of fun marketing stuff. Like we got a big summer planned, and so they got some big aerial cameras and some badass dudes, and so the stuff it's gonna be legit. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm really getting stoked for this summer, being able to like film and put everything together. And that's just it. And if you want to follow those adventures, you can follow me on Instagram at combatflipflops.griff, Griff.
Perfect. And ambitious vet, that all those links will be in the show notes below. So make sure that right after the show or right now, go down and click and connect with this man. This man has proven to win over the sharks and also build over $1 million retail company. So if you're looking to either get some flip-flops or get more engaged with their mission or promote it, get connected with them. Matt, man, I just want to thank you, brother, for being a man that served in the uniform and is still serving outside of it, brother. I mean, just your heart and how you took 4 deployments, wrapped it all up, let it go and put it back in the past, man, and now is serving humanity as a whole, man, and your vulnerability moves me every time I talk to you, brother. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Chris. Have a great day, and best of luck to everybody out there. Go get it.
Let's rock.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Again, today's show was brought to you by Brute Force. If you're ready to get creative with your functional fitness during these challenging times and the fitness apps are just not cutting it, train accordingly with Brute Force today. Simply click the link in the show notes below and you'll be off to the races.